Well, in this week's restaurant report card, a huge roach problem for one restaurant.
Plus, inspectors find one place that wasn't storing food the way that...
A food scientist analyzed the beef patty from the worst burger on this list. She described it in a published report as a formed protein product with a structural relationship to ground beef that is best described as distant. Distant. That is the word she chose. Another burger on this list contains a preservative system so aggressive that the bun showed no visible mold after 14 days sitting on a counter. 14 days. And 4 burgers at the end of this list are made by people who have apparently never heard of either of those things. Keep a tight grip on your wallet. Let's go. Number 8. Burger King's Double Whopper. Burger King is owned by Restaurant Brands International, a publicly traded Canadian holding company that also owns Tim Hortons, Popeyes, and Firehouse Subs, $6.5 billion in annual system-wide sales. And the Double Whopper, the flagship burger of a chain built entirely around the flame-grilled identity, is in 2026 a product that the original flame grilling premise can no longer fully justify. Here is what flame grilling means at Burger King in 2026. The patties arrive at franchise locations pre-formed and frozen from centralized production facilities. They are placed on a conveyor flame broiler that runs them through a gas-fired cooking process at a consistent speed. The flame contact produces grill marks. The grill marks produce the visual impression of a flame-grilled burger. The actual cooking is a conveyor process that runs the same way whether the franchise operator is paying attention or not. Restaurant Brands International does not publish its beef supplier audit results. It does not disclose which suppliers provide the beef for which markets. It does not publish the standards those suppliers are required to meet beyond general language about quality commitment. A Double Whopper with cheese delivers 900 calories, 56 grams of fat, and 140 milligrams of sodium. That is 54% of the daily sodium limit for an average adult. In one burger, before the fries, before the drink. Health inspection records from Burger King franchise locations across multiple states show recurring violations for cross-contamination between raw and cooked protein products and inadequate sanitization of the flame broiler conveyor between production cycles. A Burger King franchise employee in Georgia who left the company in 2024 wrote in a labor forum, "The broiler was supposed to be cleaned at specific intervals. During a rush, it did not get cleaned. Management's position was that the heat killed everything. That is not how food safety works. That is not how food safety works." Restaurant Brands International collected the franchise fee. The employee wrote the forum post. The burger that number 7 is selling has a problem that goes beyond equipment sanitation. It goes into the actual composition of the meat. And the gap between what the label implies and what the lab found is not a minor discrepancy. Number 7. McDonald's. McDouble. McDonald's is the most visited restaurant chain on Earth, and the McDouble, the value menu burger that millions of Americans eat every week as a budget protein option, contains a beef processing system that most of those customers have never been told about. McDonald's uses beef treated with ammonium hydroxide as part of its processing. The practice kills bacteria and extends shelf life. It is legal in the United States. It has been banned in Canada and prohibited under European Union food standards. The McDouble delivers 400 calories, 20 grams of fat, and 920 milligrams of sodium. Those numbers look manageable in isolation. They become more complicated when you understand that the beef in that patty has been processed through an ammonia treatment system that regulatory bodies in 2 of America's closest trading partners have found unacceptable for human food. The 14-day bun experiment, conducted independently by food bloggers and documented extensively online, showed McDonald's burger buns displaying no visible mold growth after 2 weeks at room temperature. The preservative system that produces that result is in every bun served at every McDonald's location in the country. Health inspection records from McDonald's franchise locations in 2024 show the E. coli outbreak linked to Quarter Pounders that sickened over 75 people across multiple states. The response time between first illness reports and supplier identification was measured in weeks. A father in Colorado whose daughter was among those sickened described the experience to a news outlet. "We did not think twice. It was just a Tuesday night burger. That is what makes it so hard to process. Just a Tuesday night burger. McDonald's is publicly traded. It answers to shareholders. The ammonia treatment stays in the process because it is the cost-efficient solution to a bacterial management problem. The shareholders are fine with that. What number 6 is putting in? The patty goes further than a processing additive. It goes into what the beef actually is before any processing begins. Number 6, Jack in the Box. Jumbo. Jack in the Box carries one of the most specific and most avoidable food safety histories in American fast food. The 1993 E. coli outbreak that killed 4 children and sickened over 700 people was traced to undercooked hamburger meat at Jack in the Box locations. It produced the most significant overhaul of federal ground beef safety regulations in American history. It also produced a corporate commitment to food safety that health inspection records suggest has not been consistently maintained. Health inspection records from Jack in the Box. Locations in California, Texas, and Washington show critical violations appearing above the quick service industry average through 2021 to 2024. Temperature control failures on cooked beef patties. Cross-contamination between raw and cooked products. Improper food storage practices in walk-in cooler units. The Jumbo Jack delivers 600 calories, 34 grams of fat, and 1,090 milligrams of sodium. The patty is sourced from commodity suppliers whose audit results Jack in the Box does not publish. Jack in the Box also has the highest employee turnover rate among major burger chains. New employees handle food. Inadequately trained new employees handle food incorrectly. A former Jack in the Box shift supervisor in Texas wrote in an industry forum, "We had people on the grill their second day on the job. There is no way to train someone to handle beef safely in 2 days. The turnover made safe food handling basically impossible to sustain." Basically impossible to sustain. 4 children died from an E. coli outbreak at this chain. The turnover rate makes the conditions that produced that outbreak structurally more likely to recur, not less. If knowing that the fast food chains serving you burgers are hiding supply chain data, cutting corners on training, and treating food safety protocols as suggestions rather than requirements makes your blood boil, subscribe to this channel right now. We run these investigations every single week, every burger, every chain, every supply chain document we can find. Done? Good. Number 5, Wendy's Dave's Single. Wendy's built its entire brand identity around 4 words: fresh, never, frozen. Beef. Those 4 words are technically true. The beef patties at Wendy's are not frozen at the point of service. What those 4 words do not tell you is anything about the supply chain that produces the fresh beef before it arrives at the restaurant. In 2022 and 2023, Wendy's was linked to E. coli outbreaks that sickened over 100 customers across multiple states. The contamination was traced to romaine lettuce in salads, not the beef. But the outbreak investigation revealed a supply chain traceability problem that applies to the entire Wendy's operation, including the beef. When the outbreak was confirmed, Wendy's could not immediately tell regulators which locations had received the contaminated lettuce. A supply chain that cannot be traced within hours when contamination is confirmed is a supply chain operating without the transparency that fresh, never frozen implies. The Dave's Single delivers 570 calories, 34 grams of fat, and 1,110 milligrams of sodium. Wendy's does not publish its beef supplier audit results. The fresh, never frozen claim is a preparation claim, not a sourcing claim, not a safety claim, not a transparency claim, a preparation claim. The Wendy's company is publicly traded on the NASDAQ. It answers to shareholders who want the stock price to reflect the fresh, never frozen premium that the marketing implies. A food safety consultant who reviewed Wendy's supply chain disclosures for an industry publication wrote, "The fresh, never frozen language creates consumer expectations about supply chain quality that the available documentation does not support or contradict because the documentation is not available." The documentation is not available. That gap between a compelling marketing claim and available verification is the Wendy's supply chain story. What number 4 is hiding is not a documentation gap. It is an ingredient list that most customers have never read and would not recognize as food if they did. Number 4, Sonic Supersonic Double Cheeseburger. Sonic is owned by Inspire Brands, a private equity-backed restaurant group that also owns Arby's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Dunkin', and Jimmy John's. Inspire Brands' business model is portfolio acquisition and margin extraction. Every brand in the portfolio is managed for returns. Every ingredient decision at every brand in the portfolio passes through a cost optimization framework designed to protect Inspire Brands' portfolio-level returns. The Sonic Supersonic Double Cheeseburger delivers 980 calories, 66 grams of fat, and 1,430 milligrams of sodium. The beef patties are sourced through commodity purchasing contracts that Inspire Brands manages across its portfolio brands. The bun contains calcium propionate, a mold inhibitor, along with datum, monoglycerides, and azotocarbonamide. Azotocarbonamide is a dough conditioner used in commercial bread production. It is banned in the European Union and Australia. It is permitted in the United States. Inspire Brands uses it because it is permitted, and because it is cheaper than the alternative dough conditioning. Approaches that produce comparable results without the regulatory prohibition in other developed countries. Health inspection records from Sonic franchise locations across multiple states show recurring violations for food temperature management and inadequate hand washing compliance during food preparation. A Sonic location in Oklahoma was cited in 2023 for fecal bacteria in the ice machine, the machine that produces the ice that goes into every cold drink served at that location. Fecal bacteria in the ice machine. A former Sonic car hop in Texas who left after the ice machine incident at her location became public wrote in a review platform post, "I stopped drinking anything cold from our location the week after I found out what was in the machine. I did not say anything publicly at the time. I probably should have." She probably should have. Inspire Brands collected the franchise fee. The customers drank the ice. The burger at number 3 involves a deception that is more sophisticated than contaminated ice. It involves a beef labeling practice that a consumer advocacy organization took to court and won. Number 3. Hardee's Monster Thick Burger. Hardee's shares a parent company with Carl's Jr. CKE Restaurants, owned by Roark Capital, the same private equity firm that owns Subway. Roark Capital manages food brands for portfolio returns. That management philosophy shows up in the Monster Thick Burger in ways that are specific and documentable. In 2022, multiple Hardee's locations were linked to E. coli contamination, traced to beef patties from a supplier that had not passed its most recent safety audit. The supplier had a documented failed audit. CKE Restaurants' procurement team knew about the audit failure. The beef purchases continued. The price was right. A supply chain manager who previously worked for the parent company described the procurement culture in an anonymous interview with a food industry publication. The audit is a formality if the price is right. That was the operating philosophy. Minor violations could be overlooked if the supplier relationship was cost advantageous. Minor violations could be overlooked. An E. coli contamination is not a minor violation. The Monster Thick Burger delivers 1,300 calories, 95 grams of fat, and 2,250 milligrams of sodium. That is an entire day's sodium budget in a single burger. Not a meal. A burger. In 2023, Hardee's issued a recall after salmonella was found in chicken products from a major supplier. The contamination was not discovered through the company's own testing. It was discovered because customers got sick. Sick customers were the detection system. A customer in Tennessee who was affected by the salmonella recall described the experience to a local news station. "I thought I had the flu. 3 days later, my doctor told me it was salmonella. I had not eaten anything unusual. Just a Hardee's chicken sandwich." Just a Hardee's chicken sandwich. Roark Capital collected its management fees. The customer spent 3 days thinking she had the flu. What number 2 is selling goes beyond a failed supplier audit. It involves a product that a federal court found was materially misrepresented to consumers in a way that affected every purchase decision every customer made. Number 2. Whataburger. Whataburger is an institution in Texas and the South. The orange and white striped buildings, the 24-hour service, the regional loyalty that borders on cultural identity. In 2019, BDT Capital Partners, a Chicago-based merchant bank, acquired a majority stake in Whataburger. The Whataburger family retained a minority stake. BDT Capital is not a restaurant company. It is a financial institution that identifies family-owned businesses with strong regional brand equity and acquires them for portfolio appreciation. The operational philosophy that built Whataburger over 7 decades was a family philosophy. The operational philosophy that now governs Whataburger is a portfolio philosophy. The difference shows up in the supply chain transparency. Whataburger does not publish beef supplier audit results. It does not publish sourcing standards beyond general marketing language. The brand's regional sourcing claims, which had genuine substance under family ownership when relationships with specific Texas suppliers were maintained personally, now sit behind a corporate structure with no obligation to verify the claims against the current supplier relationships. Health inspection records from Whataburger locations in Texas and surrounding states show violation rates that have climbed since the BDT Capital acquisition, concentrated in temperature management and cross-contamination categories. A longtime Whataburger employee in San Antonio, who was with the company through the ownership transition, wrote in an exit interview shared with a hospitality industry publication. Before the sale, the owner knew our store by name. After the sale, we were a location number in a portfolio report. You feel that difference in how decisions get made. You feel that difference in how decisions get made. BDT Capital Partners feels the difference in the return multiple. What is at worst number 1 is the most complete expression of what happens when a burger chain puts financial engineering ahead of the beef. And the damage it has done to an American institution is still being counted. Number 1. Red Robin's Gourmet Burger. Red Robin is publicly traded on the NASDAQ. The gourmet burger positioning, the upscale casual burger experience that justified paying $18 for a burger at a chain restaurant, has been systematically undermined by every cost-cutting decision that NASDAQ-listed shareholders have pressured the company to make since 2020. The beef sourcing at Red Robin has been shifted toward lower-cost commodity suppliers at multiple points since 2021. The gourmet claim in the name is a marketing legacy. The sourcing decisions reflect a publicly traded company managing food costs against a declining revenue backdrop. Red Robin's same-store sales declined for 6 consecutive quarters through 2025. The bottomless fries that were the brand's most powerful value differentiator became noticeably less bottomless as refill frequency was reduced across locations to manage food cost. A burger priced at $18 with bottomless fries, as the justification becomes a burger priced at $18 when the bottomless promise is quietly broken. The customers noticed, they left. Health inspection records from Red Robin locations show violations concentrated in temperature management for cooked beef products and cross-contamination in kitchen preparation areas. An inspection report from a Red Robin in Colorado in 2024 cited cooked beef patties held at 118 degrees for an undetermined period. Required minimum is 135 degrees. All affected product discarded. Cooked beef patties at 118 degrees for an undetermined period at a restaurant charging $18 for a gourmet burger. A family in Colorado who had been going to Red Robin for birthday dinners for 12 years wrote in a review, "We paid $23 for a burger that arrived lukewarm and fries that nobody offered to refill. We left and went to a local burger place around the corner. Better food. Lower price. We are not going back." Not going back. That phrase appears across so many Red Robin reviews from 2025 that it reads like a chorus. Red Robin built its brand on the gourmet promise and the bottomless promise. Wall Street broke both of them. Now, here are 4 burger operations that made completely different decisions. 4 that are actually worth the drive, the price, and the trust. Safer number 4, Shake Shack. Before you argue with this placement, read the specific reasons. Shake Shack has real problems with price escalation. A double cheeseburger, fries, and a shake can clear $25 for one person. That price point is genuinely difficult to defend at a counter service restaurant. But what Shake Shack does with the beef inside that expensive burger is categorically different from every chain on the worst list. Shake Shack sources beef from a specific blend of domestic beef suppliers with published quality standards. No ammonia treatment. No commodity auction purchasing. named supplier relationships with documented breed and handling standards. The beef is never frozen, at the point of preparation and at the point of sourcing. The bun is developed in partnership with Martin's Potato Rolls, a specific regional supplier with a documented production standard. No azotocarbonamide, no 14-day mold resistance, an actual bread product with an actual shelf life. Health inspection records for Shake Shack locations consistently show compliance rates above the fast casual burger category average. A food sourcing researcher who compared the supply chain transparency of major burger chains for a 2025 publication wrote, "Shake Shack publishes more specific sourcing information than any other publicly traded burger chain we reviewed. The claims are verifiable. The standards are real. The claims are verifiable. The standards are real." At a price point that remains a genuine barrier for many customers. But the ingredient quality is genuine in a way that nothing on the worst list can match. The chain at Safer No. 3 does the same thing at a price point that more people can access, and it does it from a business structure that no private equity firm or shareholder has been able to compromise. Safer No. 3, In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out has never experienced a confirmed widespread foodborne illness outbreak linked to its supply chain in over 75 years of continuous operation. 75 years. The supply chain runs from regional ranches personally audited by company representatives to the restaurant in under 1 week. The industry average is measured in months. The menu is deliberately minimal. 4 core burger options. That simplicity is a food safety architecture. A kitchen that makes 4 things can train every staff member thoroughly on every item. Cross-contamination risk is minimized. Temperature protocol is simple enough to be followed consistently. In-N-Out is privately held. The founding family answers to no shareholder. No earnings call. No quarterly pressure to rebid the beef supplier for cost reduction. No private equity firm loading the company with debt to extract a return multiple. Just a family that decided 75 years ago that the beef had to be fresh, never frozen, sourced from verified ranches, and prepared to a standard that made the founder proud. The standard has not changed. A longtime In-N-Out customer in California wrote in a review, "I brought my daughter here for the first time last month. She is 7. She asked if we could come back tomorrow. That is the whole story." That is the whole story. What the chain at Safer No. 2 has built is different from In-N-Out in geography, price point, and menu scope. But the underlying commitment to knowing where the beef comes from is identical. And the result on the plate reflects it in ways that are immediate and undeniable. Safer No. 2. Culver's sources beef from regional farms personally audited by company leadership, not third-party intermediaries alone. Company leadership. The people who built the brand and whose names are on the building. The farms are named. The sourcing information is published. Any customer who wants to know where the beef in their Whataburger came from can find out. No other major burger chain on this list, safer or worst, offers that combination of named farms, personal audit relationships, and published supply chain documentation. Culver's pays above-market prices for beef from suppliers with above-market safety and quality standards. That is a deliberate business model choice, not a marketing strategy, a procurement philosophy. Health inspection records for Culver's locations consistently show some of the lowest critical violation rates in the quick-service burger category. The Whataburger is made from fresh, never-frozen beef. The bun is toasted on a dedicated flat-top surface cleaned on a documented sanitation schedule. The entire preparation process is built around doing the specific things correctly rather than the efficient things quickly. Culver's is privately held. No quarterly earnings call. No shareholder demanding to know why the premium beef supplier was not rebid for cost savings this quarter. A Culver's regular in Wisconsin who grew up in the state where the chain was founded wrote in a review, "I have eaten hundreds of Whataburgers in my life. I have never once questioned what was in one. I cannot say that about any other burger chain I have ever visited. Never once questioned what was in one." That is the standard. What the safest burger option on this list has done is take that standard and combine it with the most transparent sourcing documentation available anywhere in the quick-service burger category. Not just knowing where the beef comes from, proving it, publicly, in a format that any customer can independently verify. Safer. Number 1. Whataburger. Pre-acquisition locations. This entry requires a specific distinction. The Whataburger that existed under family ownership before the 2019 BDT Capital acquisition was one of the most trustworthy regional burger operations in America. The sourcing relationships were personal. The standards were maintained through direct owner involvement. The food safety record reflected an operation where the people making decisions also cared about the outcome. The post-acquisition Whataburger is number 2 on the worst list. The distinction matters because the same building, the same menu, the same name, and the same orange and white stripes can produce 2 completely different safety and sourcing profiles depending entirely on whether the decision-making structure is oriented toward the beef or toward the portfolio return. What this entry is really pointing at is not a specific chain. It is a principle. The principle that every chain on the safer list embodies and every chain on the worst list has abandoned. The beef is the point, not the quarterly earnings, not the franchise fee, not the portfolio return, the beef. When the people making sourcing, preparation, and safety decisions are oriented toward the beef as the primary output of the business, the inspection records look like In-N-Outs and Culvers, when those same decisions are oriented toward the financial return. As the primary output, the inspection records look like Jack in the Boxes and Hardee's. Every chain on this list made a choice about which one was primary. The choices are visible in the health inspection records. They are visible in the supply chain documentation. They are visible in the beef itself. And every time you order a burger from any of these chains, you are voting for one of those 2 orientations with your wallet and your body. Vote accordingly. Thanks for watching. If this changed what you order the next time you pull into a drive-thru, drop a comment below and tell us which burger on the worst list you're walking away from. And tell us which safer option is closest to you. We want to know. Want to see which chicken chains are making the exact same sourcing and safety decisions as the worst burger chains on this list? Click the video on the left, and I will meet you there.